Not my best landing.
Hey, let's go!
This is Steve Hannley.
This is Kevin Dunsmore.
And you've been playing the Star Wars Battlefront beta, isn't that right?
Yes, I have.
And it came out, I believe, 3 days ago, and it is the first beta for the game.
Yes, it was released a few days ago as a code to select few people, and it's going live for everyone on PS4, Xbox One, and PC Thursday.
Now, when you say everyone, do you mean everyone, or do you have to pre-order the game, or how does that work?
No, literally everyone.
Oh, wow.
This is an open beta in every sense of the term. Anyone who wants can go onto the PlayStation Store, Xbox Live Marketplace, or Origin and download the beta.
Now, the game is separate, though. If you have an Xbox One and you play against a PlayStation 4 player, that's impossible, right? You have to stick within your own console.
Correct. There's no cross-play, not even between PS4 or PC.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about this game? Now, is it closer to the original Star Wars Battlefront, which I believe, was that Pandemic who developed those?
Yes, Pandemic developed Battlefront 1 and 2, and then the third one was supposed to be developed by Free Radical before LucasArts pulled the funding for that game. And now, actually, that's what caused them to go bankrupt.
That's right. That was kind of a tough blow to them. And Digital Illusion CE, also, or I should say more commonly known as DICE, has taken the reins, which isn't too surprising because, let's face it, this game is similar to Battlefield. And how similar is it?
It's actually very different.
Oh.
I remember when this game was first announced, how I pictured it. I almost did kind of see it as a Battlefield reskin. But what they've done is they've kind of taken the original format of the first two Battlefront games by Pandemic, which is very casual, very open to a lot of different types of people playing, and they went with that.
Now, the cover art of the game features an AT-AT or an AT-AT, depending on what do you call them, Kevin?
I just call them AT-ATs.
I do too.
It rolls off the tongue better.
It does. AT-AT sounds kind of strange, and also I don't think people call the AT-ST an ATST. So I think it should be AT-AT. But regardless, the cover art features one on the cover, and almost all the screenshots we've seen so far does in fact feature Hoth. Does a lot of the game, or at least a lot of the beta, take place in Hoth?
So here's the way that the beta is structured. There are 3 different modes you can play. You can play Drop Zone, which takes place on a new planet called Sullust, which is a volcano planet, never before seen in the Star Wars universe. And then you have a cooperative survival mission on a Tatooine map. And then you have Walker Assault mode, which is on Hoth. And that's probably going to be the main multiplayer mode most people gravitate towards in the beta. Because it's a 20v20, so 40 maximum mode. It's going to have the most players. It's the biggest of the 3 maps, and in my opinion, based on the matches I played, it offers the most intense action compared to the other 2.
Now, how exactly does it work? Does everyone play as the Empire, or do you get to choose your side, or can you be a rebel?
There are 2 factions. There's the Rebel Alliance, and then there is the Empire. Basically, what happens in Walker Assault is that the Rebels are tasked with capturing uplink stations. There are 2 of them at a time, and they summon Y-Wings, which drop a charge on the AT-ATs, which allow the Rebels to attack them. Meanwhile, the Empire has to stop the Rebels from capturing these uplinks and guiding their AT-ATs towards the shield generators. Now, this mode is not limited to just the Hoth map. It's also going to be on an Endor map, I think they've confirmed. And so I'm not sure what the objectives on that map are going to be like, and if there's going to be a shield generator there or not.
Now, is this a mode you could see yourself and other players playing for hours or days at a time, or is it one that you think would tire off pretty quickly?
That's an interesting question, because in the beta, it shows that there may be about somewhere between 6 to 8 modes in the final game. Walker Assault and Drop Zone are the only ones there right now. Walker Assault is kind of like Rush, if you played Rush from the Battlefield franchise, but this game has a lot of the same problems that Rush did in Battlefield 4. There's a lot of spawn killing in this mode. The map is, I don't know, DICE is known for having huge maps, but this map seems oddly very small. I don't see this as a mode that is going to get a lot of playtime, especially because it feels one-sided. I don't think the balancing is there to where it feels like you're going to have a fair chance of winning on either side.
No matter the player count or anything like that.
No matter the player count, it's a really weird balancing decision that they kind of did. I've had matches where I have played as the Empire, and we are completely dominating the Rebels, and then we get to the last uplink station. They get the uplink, and they somehow manage to win.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not quite sure. I think that... Well, here's the thing. This leads back into the casual argument of when the Y-Wings come and they bomb them, AT-ATs can be damaged by any normal weapon. And that includes other vehicles too, so like AT-STs and stuff. In Battlefield, you relied on the engineer class to have the explosives to deal with these kind of vehicles. But here, because you're losing the classes, you're losing a lot of that the complex gameplay that makes these battles interesting.
I see how that could be a problem. Now, which mode then do you think will prove the most popular?
I think a lot of people are going to lean towards the Supremacy game mode. It's not available in the beta, probably because DICE wants people to play other modes.
Right.
Since Supremacy is essentially Conquest.
Okay.
But it's got the different take is that there are five points on the battlefield, and each side starts off with 2, and then the middle one is neutral. And so you already start off with 2 spawn points, and then you can go and you can capture the other spawn points. And so just like how Conquest has always been the most popular game mode in the Battlefield franchise, I feel like it's also going to be the most popular in Battlefront.
Now, are there a lot of iconic characters in the game? Will we see the likes of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, or even Dak Walter?
Not sure about that last one.
Hey, he saved Luke's life.
But yes, in the beta you can play as Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. The only other confirmed hero at this point is Boba Fett. Now, we know you can fly the Millennium Falcon, but we don't know if you can actually play as Han Solo.
You have to play as Han Solo. He's the man.
Well, we're still waiting on EA and DICE to confirm more heroes, but I can definitely say that there won't be any heroes from the prequel or the upcoming sequel trilogies.
I don't think there'll be a lot of complaints about that. And as long as we can bet on the Fett Man, I think we'll be alright. Now, how have the servers been for you so far?
The servers have been fine. I've noticed a teensy bit of lag. The real test is gonna come once the beta goes live for everybody. That's gonna be interesting because DICE has a very bad track record recently of launching games with huge server issues. We had Battlefield 3, it took them a couple months to fix that, and then we had Battlefield 4, which, wow.
Is it fixed yet?
I mean, that Battlefield 4 is fixed, but
okay.
That was a huge issue that actually spawned a few lawsuits. So
right.
I hope they've learned their lesson. Visceral, when they were promoting Battlefield Hardline, they were very open with the community. They were very open with the press about what they were going to do to make the game a better product than Battlefield 4. I'm not necessarily getting that with DICE. I feel like they've been super secretive. We don't really know a lot about Battlefront's modes. We don't know a lot about its maps. I'm hoping that the server issue isn't going to be a problem with this game, but I am a little bit worried.
So based on what you've played so far, and granted, you haven't played a lot, like you just said, the floodgates have not opened yet, but do you expect this game to be good, or more importantly, do you expect it to be great? Will this be one of the best games of the year?
Well, this is interesting because I play the game and I'm not sure who DICE has made this game for. I'm not sure hardcore Battlefield fans are going to gravitate towards this because it is very casual. It is very open. There's not a lot of depth to a lot of the gunplay. There are no classes, hardly any gun customization. I feel like this is marketed more towards the casuals. The question is, are the people who go out and only buy like one game a year, are they going to abandon Call of Duty for Battlefront?
And I think a lot of those people are people who will, if they do buy this game, do it based on the upcoming movie Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, does this game tie into the movie at all?
This game, as is, when it launches on November 17th, will have no tie-ins to Episode 7 The Force Awakens.
Wow.
Now, at the beginning of December, EA and DICE are releasing a free DLC pack called The Battle of Jakku, which does tie into Episode 7, but you do have to wait a few weeks to play that.
But it will be coming out before the movie, at least.
Yes, it will launch before the movie, and it's basically going to give you a look at the planet that the film majorly takes place on.
Well, that should be good. Now, in your time with the game, you said that there isn't many maps. Is that going to be a concern when the game does fully release?
I think that's going to be a huge problem. I know that back in April, May, when they first unveiled the game and said that there were only going to be 4 planets, it raised a lot of concerns, specifically from people who loved the first 2 Battlefront games, which had a ton of maps and a ton of planets. And I believe they've confirmed 12 maps. I think with the Battle of Jakku it brings it up to 14. But this game does not have a single-player campaign. It's lost a lot of the customization that made Battlefield 4 still a joy to play 2 years after its release. I'm concerned, specifically after playing the beta, that this game is not going to have enough content to justify the $60 price tag.
Now, can the game be played as single-player, or is it a multiplayer-only experience?
There's no single-player campaign. There are these things called missions, which can be survival missions, battle missions, and those can be played in single-player. Based on the one that they included in the beta, it seems like a really gimped-down horde mode. I don't think this is going to be an enjoyable game for anyone who just wants to play single-player. It doesn't look like there's going to be any instant action or bots like there were in the previous Battlefront games.
Do you think that will be a problem with people who do just want to sit down and play a Star Wars game without having to worry about finding other people in the world to play with?
I think it will. I remember back in my time when I played Battlefront 2, I'd like going into instant action and playing with a bunch of the modifiers and make it to where I could always play as the hero and just going around and just destroying a bunch of droids. And sure, it wasn't as fun as the multiplayer, but it was enjoyable, and we kind of learned how to play as the different classes, how to play as the different heroes. A lot of people like that, and a lot of people like the Galactic Conquest mode that came with the previous games. And I feel like EA and DICE are missing a key part of the Battlefront franchise.
Well, time will tell, and it won't take too long because Star Wars Battlefront releases on November 17th for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. And for more of Kevin's thoughts on the game, you can head over to hardcoregamer.com right now and check out our preview.